Endless Engines, week 4. So I've basically done 3 videos in a row about making a car. It's about time we move on to the fun part, actually designing an environment. So get cozy and let's roll some time lapse. So yeah, first of all, we're going to start with the foreground, that being the road and its immediate edge. This is an interesting area to work on. The car covers a lot of ground over these few hundred frames, so the elements in the foreground will really be speeding by. Although they'll only be on screen for a split second, they're critical to put in because without them it's hard to really get a sense of the speed at which the vehicle is traveling. The main asset pack I found of use for setting up the foreground elements was this freeway asset pack from the Decagon Matrix demo. This supplied street signs, lights, and billboards. I wanted to be conscious of what's behind the camera as well for the sake of the shadows they cast as the car speeds by. This adds some extra detail and depth to the scene and makes the world feel more full. Here I go ahead and download way too many curves. When moving at such high speeds, the repeated texture can be easy to notice, so by slotting in a bunch of different modular pieces and adjusting the materials so that they are similar colors, this helps to break up that repeated feeling. And now, still using the same asset pack, I'm able to piece together this freeway sign and copy it around across the level. For now, these all have the exact same sign. That'll be something I change in the final render, but it works as a placeholder. Anyways, working with modular pieces makes the process go by a lot faster. It's a fun way to work, and once the assets are in place, that long distance we're traveling becomes much more apparent. Speaking of those mega scans, I downloaded some decal materials, assigning them to decal actors, and scattering them across the road. This did a good job to break up the textures in a bunch of areas. What's all that? What are you saying? What's wrong? There's just a bunch of issues. Out of sight, out of mind. Working on this little construction area here, I used the same decals to make it look like the road has been upturned or is being worked on. As I was working on this, I thought I was going to have more foreground elements actually in front of the car, but I found that really kind of distracted you from the render and muddied up the image, so I ended up just keeping this area I'm working on now a little bit smaller. I also came across a fun new crash while working on this. For some reason, whenever I tried to import foliage, the whole engine would shut down. So I had to axe the use of plants. So yeah, here's our foreground all set up. And now we'll move on to the midground. So how do we approach filling such a massive area with detail? I had to break it down into blocks, using more downloaded assets in a separate level and then copying over the blocks back into the main scene. This isn't necessary to do, but it helped me sort of focus on specific areas. We're using 2 gigantic asset packs, the Research Facility 4-in-1 pack, and a new set of assets I've never worked with before, the City Environment Mega Pack, Volume 2. Using these assets, I put together a city block. All said and done, putting together this chunk of city or village or whatever you want to call it, it took about an hour. Which, all things considered, is not that long. That's the power of these modular pieces. Once I had gotten familiar with what I had available, the process is 100% creative decisions, which is definitely the most fun. And once we'd had a good chunk of village all put together, I copied it over to our main scene. It was looking pretty out of place at first. It wasn't feeling very cyberpunk as I'm trying to go for, so I added in a bunch of billboards and adjusted the textures to be more on color scheme. So that means a lot of gray. But once the textures were adjusted, I was really starting to feel the environment. Doesn't that look better? I think that just looks better. This is an improvement. Definitely fits in better. Let's do the check. Let's see if there's anything that jumps out at me that needs to be fixed. No, we can totally proceed with this direction. Hooray! Alrighty, we're making some progress here. There's a lot more work to be done on the scene, but we're actually going to hold off for now, because there's another element I really wanted to get started on. Okay, I want a dude on top of the car and another one hanging from the side. And then I'm going to put like masks on them or something. If you've been following the channel the past few weeks, you'll know what comes next. We're going to load up the program Cascadeur for easy 3D animation. I really hope I've been pronouncing that correctly. As easy as this program does make things, it doesn't just grant you the ability to animate, so sometimes things take an unexpected turn. I downloaded some Mixamo models, rigged them up, and then I got to animating. Things didn't go exactly as planned. So here's the one that worked. All I did was make note of what frames the car moved on and animated the momentum accordingly. Basically, completely eyeballing it. I honestly don't know what made this one work and the other ones turn into Lovecraft monsters, but we got there. Now, I export from Cascadeur and import into Unreal. Drag the animation into the scene, attach the animation to the car, track the animation in Sequencer, and dude's up there. By having him get sort of thrown around with the vehicle, I think it sells the motion a whole lot more. I don't know if this is related, but my engine is also starting to run at very few frames per second. Anyways, to finish things off this week, I found this free Mask 3D model because I couldn't be bothered to model my own and attached it to the character's head. And with that, here's the render so far. There you go, another week down, and I think we've come a long way here. So as you can see, I still need to animate another character to hang onto the side of the truck, and of course texture them. And beyond that, we gotta fill in this environment and round off the challenge. But that is this week's progress. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as the render starts to come together. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, especially if you're working on the challenge yourself. I love hearing about how other projects are coming along. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.